Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. So today I actually have something to discuss, and this is nullsec ratting. Now, nullsec ratting is actually broken up into two separate sections. Unfortunately, due to alliance constraints and the factors that affect war when it comes to stations right now, I can't show you what's going on in nullsec. Wherever I am, obviously there's factors to the station that could be given away if I expose it in a video, and I really need to go through this as peacefully as possible without interfering with too much of the high-end information. Now, considering that high-sec ratting has two forms of basic ratting, carrier ratting and standard player style ratting. Now, standard player style ratting is you jump in with your battleships, you jump in with your regular ships, and you take on T7 all the way to T10 anomalies. This is one of the easiest things for you to do. It's going to give you a ton of reward. It really is one of the best things for you to play at and try to have fun with. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is jumping into encounters that are a little bit higher level and trying to take them out, and that is going to be under special anomaly type discussions. Special anomalies are broken up into dead spaces and the new capital ship space anomalies. They are two special types of nullsec ratting that I will not discuss in this video because they are very special in their own rights. And if anybody hears me saying it, they're just going to think that I'm bringing up an old video from my channel from just before when I quit, when I was speaking about creating the super event where you just have something which requires a ridiculous number of players in high-end ships getting a massive amount of reward out of the entire activity. Something in the billions of ISK per a single hit on these. So if you go in with a full team of 20 members and you'll fight it out non-stop, you'll have enough money to actually regenerate what you put into it. It should be crazy ridiculous to the point that the strength required to fight it goes through the roof. And unfortunately, there is something else to talk about, and I'm not going to go there. Okay, so when you rat in nullsec, there are two things to think about. Number one is safety. Remember I showed you the cost of lowsec when it came to the fact that my ship was destroyed in basically no time. I entered into lowsec, I entered into a encounter, and I got shot. Right? Obviously, those aren't true PvP pilots. You do expect them to jump in. It's those people who generally are on that side. They don't have the capability to do much in the game. They are incapable, and it's for that reason that they target those who are not allied, those who are single pilots, those who are flying on the sidelines. That is who they are after. They don't have a life. They don't have skill. They don't have capability. You have to leave them with what they can do. And what they can do is terrorize a person who can't fight back. They're your standard bully type individual, and that's exactly who they are. Those are predators on the edge of high sec, right? If you're predating in nullsec, you're exactly where you should be, because there's a strong chance the ship that you're attacking is going to web you, scramble you, and panel beat you, no matter how strong you are as a player. And even if you jump into an event where they are in, even if you're very close, there's a strong chance they're going to turn around and hit you with unbelievable firepower, and nobody really wants to fight a fair fight like that in terms of that type of combat. So yeah, that is something else to think about altogether. Okay, so let's go on to the next part of that whole discussion when it comes to the ratting. So the safety factor of nullsec is not there. There is no safety in nullsec. If you jump into nullsec, there is no gate you can jump to stay safe. There is no place for you to hide when it comes to nullsec ratting. If you're gonna rat in nullsec, you have to be as safe as possible. You have to fight as good as possible, otherwise you are in big trouble. So yeah, that is some of the things for you to note when it comes to nullsec. Right? Nullsec is all about how well you play as an individual and how big your team is. If you solo ratting in nullsec, you're running a massive risk of somebody just jumping in and hitting you when your shields are down. Because solo T10, you could have a T10 ship. The amount of damage that's going to come into your shields is going to be enough to impact how fast you're clearing out those waves. And if you lose to the wave, you lose your ability to fight any further. You can say what you want against it, but that's the reality behind it. So yeah, I'm going to stick with that, say that as it is. I don't care whether you're offended by it. It's part of the reality of the game. So let's move up one more league when it comes to obviously what I'm calling something really big. There is income. Now, your income in high sec versus your income in low sec are two very different things. If you have a team in high sec, you're just going to fly through those T7s, and that's exactly where they are. They are T7 missions. They aren't T8, they aren't T9. If you want T8, you have to go into low sec. If you want T9, you have to go into low sec. Makes it really unreasonable. Honestly, at T10, if I am correct, there are T10s in low sec, not low sec, sorry, in high sec that you can fight in, and that is perfect for your security. It's going to be where you're going to enjoy yourself. I'm not sure on the T10 missions myself. I have never ever tested them out because when I saw them the last time, they were broken and not yet ready to be used in any type of gameplay. So yeah, I'm just leaving it at that. So T10s are their own type of situation. So let's get back to nullsec crafting. If you're going to run into a T10 in nullsec, a small, which is the smallest, has an average income of about 8.4 million is, right? That is, if you take down that entire thing, you're going to get 8.4 million. If you are running in a two-man team, that's 4.2 million per person, and that's every 15 minutes. The risk to your ship is reduced. The mitigation of damage is reduced between the two of you. The spin that you're going to apply in low sec is reduced big time. So you're not going to spend 1.8, 1.9, 3, 4, 5 million to repair your ship if you ever have to repair. You don't have to worry about sacrificing slots for armor repairers or anything of the sort. You're fine. And I'm making sure that it's emphasized, you are fine when it comes to playing in those regions. The next thing for you to think about in terms of the high sec version of the game versus the low sec version of versus the null sec version of the game is the amount of bonuses that are possible for you to gain. Because corps exercise the control over regions in nullsec, if you're part of a nullsec corp, if they have the right fittings on their stations, your income is at that 8.4 million. Now I'm counting this here with corp structures that are fully built and fully set up, and obviously you could be the weakest of weakest and you could start up your alliance tomorrow, provided you have enough people playing in and you have a low enough tax rate. Example, if your tax rate is 5% with 600 people running around and each of them are making, before the implementation of that system, you'd be making around 6 million, right? Obviously there's no bounty rewards coming in for you. No, not bounty, there's no reward like your mission fee coming in, so you're just making that solid fee. Each time you're pulling in 6 million for a small, that's 6 divided with the 10%, that's 600,000, divide that by 5 because I can't do it all at once. That is 120,000. Now, as I said, there's 600 of you, so 120 times 100 will become 12 million. 12 million times 6 is 72 million. 72 million for every small that you kill. It's crazy, and you can do this here over and over again as an individual every 30 minutes. So 140 million an hour is generally what you're going to do off the lower range ships. If you're in higher range ships, that is going to be 4 times the figure. Say for example, you'll make it up to battleships and you're running around with battleships or faction battleships, make it even more crazy. That 100 and just said it. That 144 million will jump up again to 288 million an hour. Considering that as your figure, that means building up more corp structures is going to become a possibility. Pauses are going to drop everywhere in that system. That's what the company's job is at that point, because that's 1 hour. If you count it for 4 hours with everybody doing this, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 times 280. It's over $1 billion, right? And to be honest, producing your own corp station costs about 1.5 1.5 or 1.6 billion altogether with all fees added, provided you have your materials. Especially if you're farming at that rate with the amount of gear that you're going to dismantle, the amount of materials that are going to sit on your lap is just going to be crazy. You're going to have everything you want right on your doorstep. You're just going to pick it up and slap it onto the ship. Here we go. Let's blow something up. End of the day, that's where you are. That's what you have. That's your advantage. Okay, so let's move on to the next step following this step, because that's also important. When you decide to move up another step from fighting the anomalies, and you start putting up the stations, you got your station in the day. The next day you decide you're going to get the module for the bounties. Right, module for the bounties is on one, module for extra anomalies is in that day. So 2 days you've got everything set for one sector. Your corp station is going to take 3 or 4 days. You need that up. It's another thing. So first week that you are in nullsec, you'll gain all of this here. You drop your corp station, you drop your capsuleer outpost, you set up your footings for your capsuleer outpost, you defend it for as long as it needs to be defended. 3 or 4 days later, everything is active. You've now done 1 week of production, everything is up, everything is ready. Your nullsec region now has a bounty flowing in. The bounty gives you something like 10% extra in terms of bounties. 10% is no small figure. It is going to make a big difference. As I said, you're going up to 8 million an hour. And you now go, when you do this here and you increase that figure and you increase that figure, you get it to level 3. You now have 30% extra, and the figure that was invested was crazy. Your amount going into that one station went a little bit berserk. It might take you 2 weeks or 3 weeks just to invest to get up to that level. 3 weeks of investment is quite a lot, but your players have quite a bit to gain from that region. Now you start deploying more stations, you start adding more buffs, you have a generation of extra anomalies, you have gravity wells for pirates, you have gravity wells for condensed ore belts, and everybody is surrounded around a single region. As I said, this is 3 weeks for a brand new company. This is nullsec that I'm talking about, and my video is almost done. So yeah, I'll just leave it there. Nonetheless, this is what you get for your nullsec rating. That is one of the bonuses for nullsec rating. And honestly, you might think that is such an absurd way to do it. There's so much of money. No, it isn't so much of money lost. And I'm going to go to one of the basic things. These are the figures after your tax is removed. So 6 million every quarter of an hour, right? If you count that, that is 24 million an hour. You can't match that in high sec no matter how much you want to. That is just beyond your capabilities, because there's still travel time to take in, and the bigger your ship, the longer your travel time. So there you go, 24 million an hour. You play for 4 hours a day, you're making almost 100 million a day, right? You play for 10 days, you've got $1 billion. You play for 15, you've got 1.5 billion. You take 1.5 billion, you invest it into Plex, you got your Omega Jewel. You play for another 15 days, you got another 1.5 billion. You can hold your own capsuleer outpost. You tell the company that you want it for another region, you go for it. Somebody else in the company who is also farming and ratting, who's in leadership, they've been building up their funds quite heavily on their own. They've got enough for a corp station. Remember, everybody in this corp has to be highly active, considering the number isn't that high. And they decide they're going to drop another one of these corp stations in a sector 2 down or 3 down. And everything is dropping, and you're getting this whole lot of defense and power, and you're most probably in a dead end. So it's the dead end, then the one before it, then the one which is now into a Y, where you have 2 sections. It's possibly a second dead end down, which would be another 5 sectors. And if you deploy everything in the right formations, everything perfectly done, if you split your alliances perfectly, one to each alliance, you can build more alliances on the side of an alliance, and you can just ally with each other. Even though you have the same alliance, you can have crazy amounts of stations. Even though it's 3 per alliance, 3 citadels per alliance. If you take 3 citadels and you plant them from one alliance, then you make a second one just as a side, your value starts going up. And when you start rallying people to join you for the higher rewards and the greater program, because of your numbers, the risk is really, really low. And provided you keep that one little pocket super dense, super compact with the number of players you're using, you're going to have the freighters who are going to run with 8-trons up and down daily. You're going to have the multi-boxes who run 8-trons from Jita to your little sector 24/7 all day long. And all you've got to do is just make sure that they have something to move around. Your company is going to flow with money, which is beyond what I'm talking about. As I said, material costs were negligible. Although I put in the full material cost to what I said was being put up, you still have a ton of material that's being generated from just scrapping your excess parts. Anything that isn't elite, you just scrap. Every time a dead space spawns, that figure goes through the roof. It was something else altogether. Every time a capital ship rally spawns, it's another situation altogether. I'll explain that in the next video. But this is everything that I needed to explain for this part of the video. These are the simple things that you need to go through. And I hope that you'll do get what I was talking about, because this is super important for nullsec cracking. That is the bounty of nullsec cracking. Yes, it's all about the corp. If you're in a corp that's already started and you just want to take the chill life, you don't want to have any of the worries about building everything from scratch. You're not really all that much about somebody who wants to see what it took to get everything. It's your own prerogative. If you're one of the members of that small alliance, remember you're a PvE alliance for all basic purposes, you'll have maybe a PvP corp who you'll set up on the rim of your entrance. So on your entrance to your dead end, you have a PvP corp who will just go crazy on anybody who enters in. And they'll go and they'll poke at all the other hornets' nests around you, and they'll have more fun than they can ever have, because they'll actually be fighting in a place where they have to challenge skill. And I've spoken to PvP pilots who enjoy skilling it out, so yeah, you can think about that in another way. And everybody is winning at this point. Remember, the game gets a buzz because there's such strong pockets. You're going to keep expanding your alliance. Eventually, you're going to pipe out your pipeline, which leads to your dead ends, and you're going to go all the way into a center. Then you're going to take over the central region. You're going to pipe down another dead end when you've got crazy figures like 30 to 40,000 people jumping into be your allies in your alliance. Obviously, at this point, it becomes a big show of who's got more control, and that's when you start falling apart. And you can keep growing even further. You can go to a couple 100,000 players. Your community will be more bustling than some real-life markets. At this point, you will have every type of fun that you want in this place. It will be a community aspect for real life and for game life. Everybody will have something to do in that place. You'll have your own new Jita, basically. 400 to 500 people in a sector. You're moving up and down, farming anomalies left, right, and center. Everything will be down to one, maybe even no anomaly standing up in any of those sectors. By the time all of your ratting and all of your playing around is done, everything that you've gathered from those regions, you're going to be happy as an individual. You're going to be happy as a corporation. Your alliance is going to be smiling from ear to ear because of the amount of money flowing through them. The markets are going to be super busy. People will have more opportunity. Industry will start flourishing for you as an individual. For those who see dead industry, this is the way that you revitalize it on your own instead of waiting for NetEase to do it. Obviously, NetEase might try to do something to improve it. It might be in the pipe work. You never know. That's one of the reasons why I say you need to try and do it yourself. So yeah, those are the things that need to be said. Now, I'm Elementary72, and this has been my nullsec ratting video. Catch you all in the next one. Have a good day.